Good evening. I'm Lisa Ferranda.
And I'm Greg Hurst. Thanks for joining us. The Harris County Medical Examiner says it's getting closer to pinpointing a lethal combination that has led to 18 drug deaths.
Most of those victims were clustered in the northeast part of Houston within a 5-mile radius. So here's what we do know. The medical examiner confirms 14 of the 18 cases have tested positive for cocaine and opiates. Opiates are derived from opium and act as a depressant like heroin or morphine. For friends and family left behind, though, knowing more about what took their loved ones cannot ease the pain. Clifton Love's aunt says her hope is that no other family has to suffer this kind of loss.
How many children are we going to have to lose? I don't want to see this happen again to anybody's kid. I raised those kids.
Investigators from several law enforcement organizations are working this case, but just what exactly are they looking for? 11 News reporter Jeremy Diesel says if someone is caught dealing the deadly drugs, they could face very serious charges.
The list of possible victims just keeps getting longer, connected by what the medical examiner calls a bad drug that's appearing to kill. The first step for police is finding where it's coming from. But could charges be sought against a dealer accused of giving deadly drugs?
A lot of that is going to depend on what we find when we analyze these drugs and when the medical examiner finishes her complete evaluation.
Legal experts say charges are possible.
And if your activity, be it poisoning people or putting out bad drugs or bad alcohol, leads to a person's death, and there's more than two, you qualify not just for homicide, but for capital murder.
The biggest legal question would be one of intent, and that would be tough to prove in court. But just being a drug dealer could hurt someone accused.
Doesn't put me in a very good posture. I can be this person who's so reckless that might be manslaughter. It could be second-degree murder.
Prosecutors here in Harris County have never tried it before, going after a drug dealer accused of giving bad drugs to someone who's died of an overdose. But that kind of prosecution has been tried in several jurisdictions around the country. As for the Houston deaths, police say first things first.
I don't know about charges. It's premature at this point. We'll certainly be doing everything we can do to trace it back to its origin.
They already know the end this brings. Jeremy Diesel, 11 News.
The federal law that allows the death penalty for murders in connection with drug crimes was recently upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court.
This problem may also extend beyond the Harris County line because Sunday morning emergency crews were called to a Conroe home where they found an unconscious couple. The couple's daughters told police their parents had a history of cocaine use, and the couple is currently hospitalized in intensive care. Authorities are trying to determine if they, too, were victims of whatever mysterious drug combination has already taken 18 lives in Harris County. This story is a result of our partnership with Houston community papers, including the Courier in Conroe. You can read more about it in tomorrow's edition. And if you or someone you know has a drug problem, you can get help at the confidential and anonymous drug crisis hotline. Just call 713-HOTLINE. The number is 713-468-5463. Counselors are available 24 hours a day.
St. Joseph Hospital is reopening its emergency center tomorrow morning. It has been closed for the past 2 months because of damage suffered from Tropical Storm Allison. The storm dumped 24 feet of water into parts of the basement. The hospital estimates the water caused more than $70 million damage and says it will take at least 9 more months to get everything back to normal. A competency hearing for Andrea Yates has been scheduled for 2 weeks from today. The Clear Lake mother is accused of drowning her 5 children in the bathtub of their home. Last week, Yates' attorney entered a not guilty plea by reason of insanity. If Yates is found competent to stand trial and convicted of capital murder, she could get the death penalty.
We have a surprising shakeup to report at the top of one of Houston's largest energy corporations. Jeff Skilling has stepped down as the chief executive of Enron. He held the job for only 6 months, but it's been a troublesome time for Enron. In the last year, the company's stock has lost more than half its value. But the company cited personal reasons for Skilling's departure and said that he would not receive a severance package because he'd resign voluntarily. Now, longtime Enron boss Ken Lay will resume the CEO job. A quiet southeast Houston neighborhood fears a recent court ruling could turn their community into a danger zone. The case affects 2 residential areas near Fair Oaks and Brookside. As 11 News reporter George Smith tells us, allowing access to the area has some residents up in arms.
For the past 6 years, this is what happens if you try to drive along Fair Oaks near Brookside. You have to turn around. Since this street has been blocked off, many residents say the neighborhood is a much more peaceful place. a place where you can take a walk or ride your bike safely. But all that's about to change.
For now, the battle is over, yes.
After a lengthy court fight, this barrier is expected to come down. One reason is safety. The barrier presents problems for emergency vehicles. That's made scores of nearby homeowners very unhappy. They remember what it was like before the barrier was put up.
It was pretty bad then. And I imagine when they take it down, it's going to be worse.
And it was just a freeway right through the neighborhood.
Safety is their biggest concern.
Wayside and Lawndale are the 4-lane, 5-lane streets where major traffic should be, and not in a small neighborhood that we are.
We have felt like as if we've been left with impaired access here.
The owner of the Fair Oaks Apartments fought to have the barrier taken down and won. He says controlling traffic flow is a concern, but
the question is whether putting a barricade across the street is the most effective and most safe way to go and do it. And that's where the Court of Appeals has simply said that is not the case.
For somebody else, it may not make a difference to them at all, but I think a lot of us really want it down.
Now, the City Council must give the final okay before this barrier is taken down, but everyone says it's just a matter of time before that happens. As for traffic racing through here, there are plans to put in speed bumps. That may not satisfy a lot of residents in the area, but it looks like it'll have to do. Lisa, back to you.
At the very least, it will somewhat slow traffic down.
Hopefully it'll slow it down, yes.
Okay, George, thanks.
Now, this is not what you would expect when you think of student housing, but a couple of hundred Texas Southern University students will be living in a hotel and be bused to school daily. A severe housing shortage has forced campus administrators to find alternatives to traditional dorm living. School officials say enrollment has jumped 13%, but while they're overcrowded, they won't be turning anyone away.
She says she would rather stay in jail than surrender to a grand jury her interviews about a Houston murder. Vanessa Leggett has been jailed since last month when she was found in contempt by a federal judge. She refuses to turn over interviews she did to produce a book about the murder of Doris Angleton, the wife of millionaire and former bookie Robert Angleton. Late today, the appeals court decided to open the oral argument open to the public.
This wasn't what you would call a warm reception for President Bush.
No justice! No peace! No justice!
These protesters marched back and forth in front of the Adams Mark Hotel in Denver, where the president was speaking this evening. The NAACP is boycotting the hotel chain for alleged discrimination. The group had asked the president not to attend the fundraiser for Colorado Governor Bill Owens. The CEO of the company that owns Adams Mark says the hotel chain is a leader in diversity and will be exonerated when the case is taken to court in November.
It is a bittersweet homecoming for a family who has waited years for word on a missing soldier. This week, that Vietnam War hero is no longer missing in action.
Plus, prescription drugs free of charge as part of a marketing ploy by a major manufacturer.
In an 11 Up Close report, an insurance policy that eases some of the worry of growing older. And Symbols of America right at your fingertips.
Wednesday on Martha Stewart Living, Martha shows you how to bake a delicious chocolate cookie that crackles in the oven. Plus,
we're going to create a dish garden with delightful miniature plants. I can't wait to show you.
Today at 9 on Channel 11.
This is a special announcement for FinFin or Redux users who have not received their compensation. I'm Carl Waldman. This is my daughter, Susie.
It's not too late to protect your future. Our law firm, Waldman Smallwood, will arrange your free echocardiogram if you qualify. Call Waldman Smallwood, 713-552-9111 for your free legal consultation.
Waldman Smallwood.
All I want to do is to thank you, even though I don't know who you are. You let me change lanes while I was driving in my car. All I want to do is to thank you, even though I don't know who you are. You let me change lanes driving in my car. Whoever you are, I want to thank you. Whoever you are, I want to thank you. Whoever you are.
Every night at 10 on 11 News, you'll see something you won't see anywhere else. 11 Up Close. Special reporting that goes where the news of the day doesn't. When local news follows its instincts instead of a formula, this is where it takes you. 11 Up Close, weeknights at 10. In the spirit of Texas, with Greg Hurst and Lisa Ferranda, you're watching 11 News at 10.
The prayers of a Fort Bend County mother have finally been answered. Geneva Martinez lost her firstborn son to the Vietnam War 31 years ago, but Rudy Ray Becerra's body never came home. His broken-hearted mother was left to wonder how he died and what became of his remains. Then 2 months ago, an Army captain arrived with these pictures, a gold tooth and the number from a chopper tail. I helped identify her son's remains after 3 decades.
They let me be alive and see he come home, and it never had happened until now, and I've said I'm ready to go now, and I want to be buried beside him.
Rudy's remains will be flown home to Texas on Friday. He'll be laid to rest in a Rosenberg cemetery on Sunday. Imagine getting a month's worth of prescription drugs for free. Bristol-Myers Squibb is making the offer to capitalize on a recall by its competitor, the Bayer Corporation. Baycol, a cholesterol-lowering drug, was pulled off the market last week because of safety concerns. Bristol-Myers is offering patients a 1-month supply of the cholesterol-lowering drug Provocol for free. All they have to do is get a doctor's prescription.
The baby boomer generation has found a new way to spend money, and for some, it could save them hundreds of thousands of dollars when they're old. 11 News reporter Dave Failing tonight has an 11 up close about boomers, their money, growing old and going broke.
Kathy Housel manages education programs for Houston Community College.
That is the bottom line for all of the courses.
She's used to planning for the future, and not just for the college.
I actually worried about my stepson having to worry about what to do with me.
She worried what would happen if someday she ended up in a nursing home.
They advised me to look into it before I turned 50 because the cost was cheaper.
Get in early and save some money.
Right.
Get in early, not into a nursing home itself, but into an insurance policy to pay for it. Annual premiums for long-term care insurance are modest for people not yet 50 like Housel.
$335.
A year.
But premiums can soar for those in their 60s and beyond.
It can be a fear for anyone, except maybe the richest among us. What happens if I grow old and the money runs out? Consider this. A year in a nursing home right now costs about $50,000. But by the year 2030, that cost is expected to rise to some $190,000 a year.
The statistics that we have today show an overwhelming need for this form of insurance, and the possibility of the financial devastation that not having this can cause an individual.
You might expect Tom Guest to say that. He's with Standard Life, an insurance company in League City that specializes in coverage for old folks, but which is now telling not-so-old folks to buy now.
Whereas we used to be focused on 65 plus, now we're focused maybe more on 50 plus.
They're focused on selling long-term care policies to relatively young people, the baby boomers, who by 2030 will have doubled the nation's nursing home population.
From your perspective, is it a good idea generally?
I don't know that I can just answer that in that way because I think it really depends a whole lot on one's own finances.
Carol Ashendorf doesn't sell insurance.
I'm a gerontological social worker.
She counsels families when loved ones can no longer care for themselves. She guesses that only about 10% of the elderly people she sees have long-term care insurance, and that among them, some have been disappointed to learn their policies covered nursing homes, but not adult daycare or in-home care. And she doesn't agree with the common sales pitch that not having the insurance means you'll be at the mercy of the Medicaid system, as though that's always something horrible.
I think that it's somewhat of a misnomer to say that if you have to go to a Medicaid facility, it's going to be a yucky facility.
So who does need long-term care insurance? Basically, it's not the poor. Medicaid will cover them, and not the rich. They can pay for themselves. It's people in between. The experts say people with $75,000 or more in their savings accounts. People bringing in $30,000 or so a year in retirement income. People who would rather not go broke paying their own way, leaving nothing for their kids except maybe the burden of worrying about them. That's how Kathy Housel explained it to her stepson.
I handed him the card after I actually received the policy, and I told him that I bought this for him.
The baby boomers, who some think may be the generation most obsessed with staying young, are now trying to find new ways to pay for when they're old. Dave Failing, 11 Up Close.
Now, the experts say policies vary. Some cover adult daycare and others don't. You need to check it out. For more information, log on to our website at khou.com and click on the Texas Department of Insurance.
A Florida sheriff's office is warning people not to go near the water. Several schools of sharks have been spotted around the Anaclote Keys on the Gulf Coast. The Pasco County Sheriff's Department says that some schools number in the hundreds, with some sharks going up to 10 feet long. Boaters and swimmers are advised to stay out of the area. Well, in the meantime, for us back here at home, if you thought it was safe to go back in the water, look out. Neil Frank could be there beside you. The water is finally warmed up enough to even get him in.
Well, I got my foot in it.
Yeah, right.
Listen, normally we would expect to see the afternoon showers dissipated by this time of the evening. Not so tonight, though. We've had a cluster of showers moving in from the northeast, dumped about an inch of rain in 25 minutes over Baytown a little over an hour ago. Those showers are moving towards the southwest so that you can see from LaPorte all the way down to just north of Clear Lake. There's some showers, and there's also a couple of showers over here around Pearland. And we also had a couple of showers to the north of here. That's all moving to the southwest. One lonely shower out here to the west, just to the west of Highway 6, north of I-10. But we would expect as the evening progresses that they would go ahead and dissipate. And we are watching tropical weather systems. We're in mid-August, and that's not unusual. We're going back 24 hours. A tropical disturbance moving from Honduras on into the Yucatan Peninsula. Another tropical disturbance that's stationary east of the Florida Peninsula. And another tropical disturbance moving into the islands in the eastern Caribbean, and then way out in the central Atlantic, we've got an interesting tropical disturbance. You see this little blow up of clouds here indicating that thunderstorms are forming. Wouldn't be surprised if this becomes a depression or maybe even a tropical storm in the next 24 to 36 hours. This system that's over the Yucatan probably is not going to really have much impact on us. And here locally, remember last night we had an area of disturbed weather that was moving towards the southwest. As we put the maps into motion now, or the satellite pictures in motion for the last 24 hours, you can see some of these cloudiness move to the southwest. The thunderstorm died during the night, but as they develop today, they're mainly to the south of us, so the showers were more prevalent over South Texas. High pressure over the state. This is not the high that we've been following now for the past 6 weeks. This is a weak high that formed over the state, but it is strong enough that it produced some warm temperatures today, so everybody was reporting in the mid to the upper 90s, except in the Panhandle where they had some clouds. Here locally it was 97 degrees up at Bush. That's 4 above normal for this time of the year. 90 on the island is 2 above normal. You get a better picture of what's going on here now. Here's the high. This is the little cluster of showers moving to the southwest. That front that Mario was talking about last night pulled up stationary in Arkansas, so no help for us at all. Here you can see the tropical disturbance out east of Florida. And that front, though, was pretty potent over the northeastern part of the country. Temperatures today were only in the 70s. And you can see this little cluster of clouds and showers down here in the Yucatan associated with that tropical disturbance there. So a little cooler in Cancun this afternoon at 88 degrees. So what's going to happen? Well, the front here is going to continue to move out. The high that's over Texas should start moving to the east. We'll see these clusters of showers rotate clockwise around the high. Here comes another front. And I think that that one is going to pull up stationary to the north of us also. But it might get close enough that we'll see some showers on Thursday and Friday. Forecast for tomorrow. High temperature will be about 95 degrees. There's a 20% chance that we'll see an afternoon or evening shower. And then a little better chance on Thursday or Friday of those afternoon showers. And then drying out, and it is going to stay hot for the rest of the week. So no relief from the heat tonight.
Standard stuff. Thanks, Doc.
An afternoon fire breaks out, threatening several vehicles at a Ford dealership.
The 11 News defenders have information on what you should know if your car is damaged at a repair shop.
Matthew Shepard died after he was beaten and tied to a fence. 2 men have been charged. One pleaded guilty.
You know, my biggest regret after walking into the hospital and seeing him was I didn't tell him enough as a father that I loved him. The thing that I've learned most is that your son is your son and your daughter is your daughter, regardless of whether they're straight or gay.
Attention, all retired contract, union, and non-union workers.
If you have been exposed to asbestos or silica on the job over a period of time, call toll-free 1-888-206-2800. You may be eligible to be screened for asbestosis, mesothelioma cancer, lung cancer, or silicosis at no out-of-pocket expense. There will be toxic screenings August 23rd in Pasadena and August 24th in Baytown. Union and non-union workers call toll-free 1-888-206-2800.
As parents, we play a key role in helping our children make good decisions and smart choices.
Let's be honest, certain subjects are more difficult to talk about.
For teenagers, this can mean talking about drinking, peer pressure, and most importantly, respecting the law.
Teach your children to say no to underage drinking and how to walk away from peer pressure.
Help your children avoid the consequences of making a bad decision. Remember, we all make a difference.
Making the right choice about drinking. Sunday morning at 11:30.
A Consumer's Digest Best Buy. AAA's top pick. The most award-winning minivan on the planet. With $2,000 cash allowance or over $4,600 in finance savings on select models, Dodge Caravan is now one of the best values on the planet. See, compare, drive, Dodge during the Team Dodge sales event.
Searching for genuine mesquite grilled flavor? You found the place, Skeeter's Mesquite Grill. Our live mesquite fire is perfect for grilling fajitas with all the trimmings, big, thick, juicy burgers and burger baskets, chicken tenders with cream gravy, and try our fresh, crisp salads. Visit the Skeeter's location near you for that smoky mesquite grilled flavor. Westview, Sugar Land, Crown & Country Village, The Woodlands, South Boss, Katy, Kingwood, and Clear Lake. Skeeter's Mesquite Grill. Mesquite, it's the flavor of Texas.
People are still cleaning up tonight at the Mack Hike Ford dealership in West Houston.
There was a fire there, and it broke out on I-10 near Gessner just before 2 this afternoon. It went to 3 alarms as it spread through the parts department. No workers were hurt, but a few firefighters did have to be treated for heat exhaustion. Witnesses say Reliant HL&P crews were working on a blown transformer when they heard a loud pop, and then they saw the fire.
Yeah, the fire, you see the smoke there. So what happens now to the customers whose car got caught in that fire? Or for that matter, to anyone whose car suffers an accident at the shop? 11 News Defender's consumer reporter Eileen Faxis explains your rights.
It happened instantly.
Once it got going and got through that wall, it just took off.
Employees inside Mack Hike Ford also took off. Literally, driving as many cars as possible out of the line of fire.
4 is all we lost. 4 cars.
4 cars in the service department, plus many more smoke damaged. Where does that leave their owners?
And until we look at them, we honestly can't tell if they can be cleaned or we need to replace them for the customer.
The dealership is already promising to take care of affected customers. Reliant Energy says it will look at claims, since it looks like an exploding transformer may have sparked the fire. But it's not always this easy.
I just cried and cried.
Another fire at a mechanic shop destroyed Susan Cantor's convertible. But in her case, the shop had no insurance and no intention of paying Cantor for the total loss.
Who can afford to just throw a car away?
If you can't, ask your mechanic a vital question before you leave your car. Do you have insurance? And will it cover my car if it's damaged here? Mack Hike Ford has insurance. Does your shop? You don't want to find out the worst way. Eileen Faxis, 11 News Defenders.
Late in the day, we got conflicting information. Mack Hike saying that 4 cars were damaged. Reliant Energy saying none. Nonetheless, Reliant does have a claims department, and if your car was damaged, you can file a claim directly with Reliant at 713-207-7722.
There's a simple way to sell a house without shelling out big bucks to a realtor.
And the Astros have their hands full as the Cubs try to claw their way back to the top.
Moving back is Mercedes.
11 News is putting the local back in local news coverage. Now, we've added a resource unlike any in Houston. 11 News has teamed up with the Houston community newspapers for an expanded network of coverage. From Conroe to Kingwood, from Montgomery to Fort Bend counties. When news happens, we're there. 11 News and the Houston community newspapers, bringing you the news coverage that's important to you and your neighbors. Another reason why it's time to choose 11 News.
They're more than man's best friend. They're part of our families. They're happy to see us when we come home, and they keep us company when we're sad or lonely. They don't ask for much, just a little love and attention, but we owe them so much more. Keep your pets safe and healthy. Feed them well, give them plenty of water, and have them spayed or neutered and protect them from the summer sun. After all, nothing is too good for a member of the family.
Brought to you by your neighborhood State Farm agents, Williams and UTMB at Galveston, in the spirit of Texas.
You don't have to be a millionaire to shop at IW Mark's $1 Million Diamond Sale and save on our fabulous selection of diamond jewelry, including diamond stud earrings and diamond pendants, all unset diamonds and mountings, diamond wedding bands and anniversary rings, diamond necklaces and bracelets. You make her feel like a million at IW Mark's $1 Million Diamond Sale. For value, service, and trust, you just can't beat IW Mark's.
Anna Werner and the 11 News Defenders, taking investigative journalism to a whole new level.
I think it calls for an investigation.
Shedding light on stories other investigative teams can't even touch.
It's a safety issue.
Unlocking secrets.
How could they not know?
Uncloaking mysteries.
We're not sure it's safe at all.
Breaking down barriers to help you understand the stories that affect you. And this is the only team that can do it. Anna Werner and the 11 News Defenders. For investigative reports that make the headlines, it's time to choose 11 News.
Wouldn't it be nice to see where traffic trouble is before you leave your driveway? Now you can. 11 News and Houston TrendStar have teamed up to create Traffic Now, a network of almost 200 cameras, giving you clear views of every major freeway in the Houston area. When a major accident or tie-up happens, you'll know about it instantly, and we'll give you alternate routes to get you to your destination on time. For your commuting advantage, it's time to choose 11 News.
The internet auction site eBay has sold just about everything under the sun, so why not a house? A family from Lookout Mountain, Georgia decided to do just that. Their 15-room house brought 52 bids, and in the end, it sold for a bargain $190,000. The family only had to pay $50 to eBay, but they saved a lot more than that on realtors' fees.
All right, you've been going out to Enron Field. You've been getting your money's worth out there. The Astros, the Cubs, and tonight, well, we'll forget about tonight.
Yes, Giff?
Well, we have to forget about it just a little bit, but it was an exciting game as the Astros and the Cubs continue to battle out for the top spot in the National League Central Division. The Astros trying to make it 2 straight over the Cubbies. Let's pick up the action and show you what happened in tonight's ball game. From the start, Roy Oswalt had it going. He gets Sammy Sosa swinging, and then he comes back and shuts down the crime dog, Fred McGriff. How about Craig Biggio? Last night he led the game off with a home run. Tonight he does it again. That's Craig's 19th blast, staking the Astros to a 1-run lead. One of the plays of the game with the bases juiced in the fourth, Bill Miller sends this scorcher to left field. Orlando Merced makes the catch and holds on. That saved at least 3 runs, and that's an all-star effort. But in the top of the 7th, and Ron Balone on, he makes a mistake to Sammy, and Sosa makes him pay. This is his 43rd home run of the season. That's all Chicago would need as the Cubs end up winning this evening by a final score of 3-1. This week's series is bringing out the big crowds at Enron. The Cubs are always a big draw, over 40,000 tonight. And with the pennant chase as hot as the weather, some fans are standing where they can to get the best view.
We love having fun at the Cubs' expense. It's the best fun we've ever had as long as Sosa's striking out.
That's what games are. They're the best. They're the best. And you can ask my Cubby fan over here. Ain't that cool, fans, Greg? Ain't they great? Ain't they great? Come on!
Well, let's bring you up to date on the pennant chase. The Cubs are back on top in the division, leading the Astros by 1/2 game. The same 2 teams will play again tomorrow. First pitch at 6. Meanwhile, the St. Louis Cardinals are back in the race. Mike Matheny with a 3-run clout. The Cardinals clubbed the Reds by a final score of 7-1. Switching gears and talking pro football, the surprise of the day came from the Dallas Cowboys camp where they made a decision at quarterback. Gone is Tony Banks, who was supposed to be the successor to Troy Aikman. Banks lasted only 2 preseason games, and after reporting to practice this morning, they gave him his walking papers. Life in the NFL is not easy. And there is a sad story in the world of professional bowling this evening. Earl Anthony, who is one of the best-known bowlers of his generation, died today. Anthony was the Pro Bowlers Tour most prolific champion, winning 41 national titles. Anthony apparently died from a heart attack while visiting a friend. He was 63. Comets out in Phoenix tonight as they wrap up the regular season, and right now in the second half they are losing to the Mercury 39-23. If they should come back and win tonight, they will play Sacramento in the first round of the playoffs beginning this weekend. If they lose, they will play against the Los Angeles Sparks, who many think will be the favorite to win the WNBA championship. But right back here at Enron tonight, a tough one for the Astros. They won last night. They lose tonight. Well, they can send the Cubs packing if they can win again tomorrow night, and they will lead the division by a half game, and of course we'll be following that for you. Exciting baseball nonetheless, and the fans here really enjoyed it. Once again, even though their home team came up on the losing end of things. Greg and Lisa?
This is going to make us crazy if we have to deal with this upside-down roller coaster seesaw thing for the next, 7 weeks?
Hey, that's baseball, and yes, it is. That's baseball, and it will be exciting. And you know what? At this point in the season, you hang on every pitch.
Well, we're already crazy, so that helps a little.
All right.
Thanks, Skip.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Hey, whatever happened to Kermit the Frog? Joe, you can find out just with the click of a mouse. Stay tuned.
Breaking news is a different animal. Order becomes chaos. Rumors look like facts. Seconds feel like minutes. That's why it's important to turn to someone who can sort it all out and see things clearly. A team with the ability to get a story fast and the standards to get it right. That team is this team, 11 News. From breaking stories to severe weather, if you want it right and you want it right now, it's time to choose 11 News.
Attention FinFin Redux users. You have a limited time to file your claim for benefits. I'm Susie Gerstenhaber with the law firm of Waldman Smallwood. Call 713-552-9111 for a free legal consultation.
I'm Carl Waldman, founder of the law firm Waldman Smallwood. Call my daughter Susie. We would like to help you.
Waldman Smallwood.
If the rain and the bad weather has destroyed your floor and you need help fast, call the big guys in carpet. Carpet Giant. Don't wait weeks for special order carpet. Don't live on bare floors. We'll help you settle your claim fast. Come in today. We'll show you the way. Select from the largest in-stock carpet warehouse in Houston. So don't let the rain ruin your day. Call Carpet Giant. We'll send sunshine your way. And remember, buy it today. We'll install it tomorrow. I guarantee it.
Carpet Giant.
Look around. Look how diverse Houston is today. We're not one city anymore. We're not just one place. And we're not just one face. But we're making it work. We're taking these differences, these things that make us unique, and we're building, reaching, creating, each with our own goals, each in our own way. So maybe that's what the spirit of Texas is today. Maybe that's why it's still around. Maybe it's all of us, connected to each of us. The spirit of Texas. Where have you seen it today?
The internet is providing a place for history that museums can't. The National Museum of American History says many icons like Kermit the Frog and Muhammad Ali's boxing gloves aren't on display because there is no room. So they started a new website called History Wired, a few of our favorite things. The site includes more than 3 million objects the museum owns. And if you'd like a virtual tour of the museum, just log on our website at khou.com for a link to History Wired.
Cheaper than an airline ticket to the Smithsonian.
That's true. And we were clicking on it tonight, and you could sit there for hours and just learn about our country.
And we did, yeah.
That's our news. Thanks for being with us.
We're back here tomorrow. Hope to see you then. Have a great night. The Late Show with David Letterman's coming up next. Sleep tight.
There still is a conscience here about what we're putting on television.